I want you to hear something, and I don't want you to miss it. When you see God's help arrive in ways you didn't expect, that is not a coincidence. That is not luck. That is not the universe finally lining up in your favor. That is divine orchestration. Now, let me tell you what happens the moment this help arrives. Because it won't be gentle. It won't be quiet. It won't slip in unnoticed like an unmarked envelope. When God sends the kind of help we've been talking about, it lands like a wave. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't knock. It crashes. And in that moment, everything changes. Not gradually, not over time. In a single instant, the math that wasn't working suddenly works. The door that was stuck suddenly swings open. The person who was silent suddenly speaks. The check you weren't expecting suddenly clears. That is not luck. That is not timing. That is God showing off. Psalm chapter 118, verse 20. 3. This is the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes. Marvelous. That means you won't be able to explain it. You'll try, you'll say, well, maybe it was this connection, or maybe it was that timing, or maybe I just got lucky. But deep down, you'll know. You'll know it was him, because the pieces don't fit together naturally. The math doesn't add up. The timing doesn't make sense. And that is exactly how you'll know. The help God sends doesn't come with an explanation. It comes with a signature. His signature written in the margins of your story so that everyone who sees it says, "Only God." I want to tell you something about the scale of this help. You've been thinking small. You've been praying for enough to get by. You've been asking for just enough to stop the bleeding. But God doesn't think that way. He doesn't measure in enna. He measures in more than enough. He doesn't calculate in barely. He calculates in overflow. When he sends help, he doesn't send a cup of water. He sends a flood. He doesn't send a loaf of bread. He sends a feast. He doesn't send one opportunity. He sends so many that you have to turn some away. Why? Because he is not a God of scarcity. He is a God of abundance. He doesn't have a budget. He has a kingdom. And his kingdom has no limits, no cap, no while supplies last. The supply never runs out. The well never goes dry. The storehouse is always full. And right now, he is pulling from that storehouse for you. Not a little, not a sample, not a trial size. He is breaking open the crates and dumping out the contents. He is tearing the roof off the warehouse. He is saying, take it all. There is more where that came from. Here's what I need you to do. Stop limiting God with your small requests. Stop asking for what you can imagine. Start asking for what you can't. Start praying prayers that make you uncomfortable. Start believing for things that would embarrass you if they didn't happen, because the God who sends ravens to feed prophets is not intimidated by your big ask. The God who opens doors that have been closed for decades is not scared of your impossible request. The God who pays back sevenfold is not worried about your budget. He owns it all. He controls it all. He moves it all. And he is about to move it all toward you. Say these words with me, God. I stop asking for crumbs. I stop praying small prayers. I stop limiting you to what I can imagine. Send help that makes no sense. Send provision that breaks my categories. Send a flood, not a drop. Send a feast, not a crumb. I am not asking for barely enough. I am asking for more than I have room for. Stay right there, because I am going to show you how to hold onto this help once it arrives. Because the enemy is going to try to take it back, and you need to know how to keep what God just gave you. Now let me tell you how to hold on to what is coming, because the enemy doesn't play fair. When he sees help land on your doorstep, he doesn't congratulate you. He doesn't step back and admit defeat. He circles back. He looks for the crack. He waits for you to relax so he can slip in and start the stealing all over again. That is his nature. He is a thief. Thieves don't stop being thieves just because you caught them once. But here is what you need to understand. God didn't send this help so you could lose it. He didn't open this door so you could watch it slam shut. He didn't release this provision so you could mismanage it and end up right back where you started. This time is different. This time, the blessing comes with a security system. This time, the door doesn't just open, it locks behind you. This time, what God gives you comes with a seal that the enemy cannot break. The old book says it in Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon forged against you will prevail. Not some weapons, not the small ones. No weapon. So here is what you need to stop doing. Stop looking over your shoulder. Stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Stop expecting the help to disappear the way it did before. That was a different season. That was a different set of rules. That was before God put his seal on what he gave you. This time, when the help comes, it stays, it grows, it multiplies, it builds. It becomes a foundation for the next blessing, and the next blessing, and the next blessing. I want to tell you something about the permanence of what God is about to do. He is not giving you a temporary fix. He is not throwing you a rope to keep you from drowning for another week. He is building you a dock. He is giving you a place to stand. He is changing your address from survival to stability. You are not going to be back here next year. You are not going to be praying the same prayers 12 months from now. You are not going to be staring at the same empty accounts, wondering where help went. Because this help is not a bandage. It is a transfusion. It is not a loan. It is an inheritance. It is not a maybe. It is a done deal. Now let me take you higher. Because what I am about to say will separate you from every person who told you it couldn't happen. Every voice that said you were finished. Every prediction of failure that was spoken over your name. Those voices are about to be silenced. Not argued with, not debated, silenced. By the sound of what God is about to do. The old book says it in Job, chapter 20, 2 verse 28. You will also decree a thing, and it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways. Decree a thing, not suggest it, not hope for it, not cross your fingers and whisper it under your breath. Decree it. Speak it like you have authority, because you do. Not your own authority, the authority of the one who sent the help. When you open your mouth and say what God has promised, heaven stops and listens. Angels turn their heads. The enemy flinches because a decree is not a prayer. A decree is a declaration. A prayer says, God, would you please do this? A decree says, God, you already said it. I am just agreeing with you. Now watch. When you declare what God has promised, the enemy doesn't just hear you. He feels you, and he hates it. I want to tell you something about the weight of your words. They are not just sounds, they are seeds. Every time you say, I never get ahead, you are planting that. Every time you say, something always goes wrong, you are watering that. Every time you say, I guess this is just my life, you are harvesting that. But here is the flip side. Every time you say, help is coming, you are planting. Every time you say, God is about to shock me, you are watering that. Every time you say, my sevenfold is on its way, you are harvesting that. Your mouth is a garden, and you are the gardener. What have you been growing? The enemy knows this. That is why he works so hard to get you to speak defeat. He doesn't even need you to believe it. He just needs you to say it. Because once it is out of your mouth, it starts taking root. And once it takes root, it starts producing fruit. And the fruit of defeat is more defeat, but you are done with that. Today, you pull up those weeds. Today, You rip out every word of failure that has been planted in your garden. Today, you start speaking what God says about you, not what you feel, not what you see, what He says. And what does He say? He says you are the head, not the tail. He says you are blessed coming in and blessed going out. He says no weapon formed against you will prosper. He says He will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten. He says He will open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that you won't have room to store it. That is what He says. Now what do you say? Now let me tell you what this help does inside you. Because the money is one thing. The door opening is one thing. The check clearing is one thing. But what happens in your chest when that help lands? That is the real miracle. Something shifts. Something unlocks. Something that was clenched finally opens. You've been holding your breath for so long you forgot what it feels like to exhale. You've been bracing for impact like a passenger waiting for the crash. You've been living in a posture of defense, shoulders up, jaw tight, waiting for the next bad thing to round the corner. And then the help comes, and your shoulders drop, your jaw loosens. Your lungs fill with air you didn't know you were missing, and you realize you've been living like a prisoner in a cell with the door wide open. That is what God's help does. It doesn't just change your situation. It changes your posture. It changes your pulse. It changes the way you walk into a room. The old book says it in Psalm chapter 30, verse 11. You turned my wailing into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. Not just fix the problem, change the outfit, change the music, change the whole atmosphere. The same person who was crying in the corner is now spinning in the middle of the floor, not because the problem disappeared, because the weight lifted, because the help arrived, because God showed up and reminded you that you are not a victim. You are a child of the King. Here is another one. Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 3. He will give beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, a garment of praise for a spirit of despair. Exchange trade swap. You give him the ashes. He hands you beauty. You give him the mourning. He hands you joy. You give him the despair. He hands you praise. That is not a transaction. That is a transformation. The ashes don't get cleaned up. They get replaced. The mourning doesn't get comforted. It gets ejected. The despair doesn't get managed. It gets evicted. That is what this help is about. Not just putting money in your pocket, putting peace in your chest. Not just opening a door, opening your lungs. Not just paying a bill, paying off the fear that has been living in your head rent. Free. I want to tell you something about what you are going to feel when this help lands. You are going to laugh. Not because something is funny, because the relief is so big it has to come out somewhere. You are going to cry. Not because you are sad, because the weight was so heavy and now it is gone. You are going to sleep. Not because you are tired, because your body finally got the memo that the fight is over. That is what God's help does. It doesn't just fix what is broken. It finishes what the enemy started. It completes the healing. It seals the victory. It puts a period at the end of a sentence that has been dragging on for years. And here is what you need to understand. That feeling, that laugh, that cry, that sleep, that is not the bonus. That is the point. The money is a tool. The open door is a pathway. The paid bill is a receipt. But the peace, the joy, the rest, that is the inheritance. That is what he was after all along. He didn't just want you to have more. He wanted you to be more settled, more secure, more like the person he created you to be before the enemy started stealing from you. If you can feel that exhale coming, if you can sense the relief that is on its way, type this in the comments. I am about to breathe. Because you are. That tight chest is about to loosen. That clenched jaw is about to release. That shallow breathing is about to deepen. The help is at the door, and when you open it, you don't just get what you needed, you get yourself back. Stay right there. More is coming. This isn't the end. This is the beginning of something you haven't seen before. This is the moment. You've heard the truth. You've felt the shift. You've made decisions that the enemy tried to talk you out of. And now there is only one thing left to do: receive. Not strive. Not figure out. Not understand. Receive like a child, opening a gift they didn't earn. Like a patient being told they're healed. Like a prisoner walking out of a cell that has been open the whole time. Receive. Because here is what I know about you. You've been good at giving. You've been good at serving. You've been good at holding things together. You don't have to get your faith to a certain level before you receive. You receive, and then the faith grows. You don't have to understand how it is going to work before you receive. You receive. And then the understanding comes. Receive first. Everything else follows. Here is another one, Romans chapter 10, verse 13. Everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Not everyone who is good enough. Not everyone who has perfect theology. Not everyone who never doubts. Everyone who calls. That is the only requirement. Call, ask, reach out, and he answers. So here is what I want you to do. I want you to close your eyes, take a breath, and in your own words right now, call on him. Not a polished prayer, not a sermon, just you, just your voice, just your need. Say this, mean it. God, I need your help. I can't do this anymore. I've tried. I've failed. I am tired, and I am done pretending I have it all together. I receive your help. Not when I earn it, not when I deserve it. Right now, I receive it. Whatever it looks like, whenever it comes, however you want to send it, I receive it. Now say this: I stop rejecting what you are trying to give me. I stop pushing away the people you are sending. I stop missing the help because it doesn't look like what I expected. My hands are open. My heart is open. My eyes are open. I am ready to receive. Father, I bring this person before you one last time. They've stayed. They've listened. They've believed when believing was hard. And now I ask you to honor that. Send the help, not a trickle, a flood, not a handout, a hand up. Not barely enough. More than enough. Open the doors that have been stuck. Move the hearts that have been hard. Send the people, the resources, the ideas, the connections, the breakthroughs that only you could send. And while they wait, give them peace. Not the fake kind, the real kind. The kind that lets them sleep through the storm. The kind that lets them smile while they wait. The kind that comes from knowing that the help is already on its way. Break every chain of striving. Break every habit of worrying. Break every pattern of trying to earn what you want to give for free. Teach them to receive. Teach them to rest. Teach them to trust that you are good and you are not late. I declare over them right now, help is coming. Not maybe, not someday now. In this season, in this moment, the thing you've been waiting for is closer than you think. And when it arrives, you will know. You will know it was God. You will know it was never you, and you will give him the glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Say this one last time. Help is here. I receive it, and I will not be afraid anymore. If you received it, if you really opened your hands and your heart, type this in the comments. I receive not. I hope not. Maybe someday. I receive. That is the language of someone who just crossed a line. That is the language of someone who is done striving and ready to receive. You made it. You stayed. You listened. You believed. Now go. Walk different. Breathe deeper, sleep better, because the help is not coming. It is already here. You just have to keep your eyes open long enough to see it.